Right. It's a good evening here in Queensland, Australia. It's 7 o'clock in the evening here, and I've got Julia, who's currently on a mission across the border, researching some new evidence of her field of Qigong. But in the right-hand corner, all the way from Spokane in Washington State, there's none other than our mate Ken. So Ken's a good friend of Julia, and Julia's going to carry on with the show. Thank you for listening and watching tonight and today and wherever you are. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. We're delighted to introduce Ken Jolly, who is an energy warrior on the pursuit to becoming an avatar today. As most of you know, I'm more of a mind bender and chi bender, but I was delighted to get to know Ken about half a year ago and find out that there's a whole group of young men and women like Ken who are living the dream and turning ideas that they've seen in films and in stories into reality by practicing and training every day and developing skills that most humans or most normal people would never even think were possible. So welcome everyone to this show, and especially welcome Ken.
Yeah,
so I think we're going to, just for the audience that is not quite familiar with what airbending means, we're going to show some clips of Ken's YouTube channel, which basically shows them doing telekinesis, moving objects, and water bending and airbending, etc. So we'll just wait for that. And it looks like it's frozen. So Ken, while we're waiting for that, do you want to just say hi and just basically tell us sort of how long you've been on this path for and what got you started?
Well, I've been practicing spirituality since 2015-ish, and as far as metaphysical abilities are concerned, I discovered them around the same time as well, but I didn't really start truly pursuing them until 2016. And I really didn't have my first, real successes until around 2018, and I became very proficient at it last year. And here I am now. I am honestly not the best at what I do in my craft. My teachers are way better than me, but I am honored to be on this show, and I'm honored that Julia selected me as a guest to sort of expose this to the world. So yeah.
So Ken, in your intro, you basically you've done a sort of, for your channel, you've done an introduction, and you mentioned that as a kid you dreamt of being like Goku, the warrior from Dragon Ball, and Naruto.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think any kid would dream to be Goku or Vegeta or anyone like that, So yeah.
So you went on a quest to become a warrior first before you started doing the telekinesis and the airbending, etc. So tell us more about that.
Well, I've done martial arts my whole life. As a kid, I did judo and wrestled in high school and college and stuff, and did Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I have a few mixed martial arts fights. So martial arts have been a passion of mine. It still is. So martial arts is where I was my first passion. But when I discovered these metaphysical abilities, I've sort of, and as I got older, I've sort of I sort of transferred my passion over, carried my passion over to doing energy work and telekinesis and whatnot. So basically excelling at that, like I'm excelling in competition in martial arts.
So tell us about your first experience. Was it like accidental or intentional, where you realized that you could actually do telekinesis, which means to move an object?
So the first thing that I've ever done is called atmokinesis, which is dissolved in the clouds and stuff like that, which was taught by my energy school that no longer exists anymore. Yeah, it's basically the ability to dissolve clouds. That's the first thing that I have success with. And believe it or not, a lot of these really impressive, seemingly impressive abilities that I can perform when it comes to dissolving clouds or creating ripples in the lake or in a pond or something like that, like I do in my YouTube videos, or moving the wind, moving trees, and all this sort of stuff. It seems very, yeah, it seems kind of unreal, and it seems as if I'm really doing something really impressive. But believe it or not, it is actually very easy to do. Anybody can do it. It is perhaps, in my opinion, the biggest kept secret, of humanity almost. I feel like air is perhaps the most easiest thing to influence, much like how, let's just say, this spray bottle here, with a little bit of liquid in, is heavier than like this t-shirt, right? So it's a lot lighter to move this t-shirt than it is to move this, right? It's kind of like that. Air is a very light density, so it's actually really, really, really easy to influence. So when you see me do these super seemingly impressive abilities like aerokinesis, atmokinesis, hydrokinesis, water bending, and air bending and such, it's actually really easy. Anybody can really learn to do that quick. You don't have to be a qigong master, or I know you don't like the title master, but you don't have to be an expert in qigong like Julia to be able to do these sort of things. So
yeah, I think that's why I invited you on the show, is because to be able to move or connect with clouds, you actually have to be aware that you have an energy field. Not many people know that their energy field is actually substantially larger than the physical body. And so one is you've got to basically understand and experience and know for yourself that you have a feel, and then you need to start applying that and using it, which is what you're doing. But then number two, you need to be able to sort of, in your mind, have a paradigm that allows you to be able to connect through to the cloud. So, when you do something, you posted something recently where on the video, what we can see is basically you holding between the fingers the cloud, sort of the up top and above, and then you're sort of pinching the fingertips together. But mentally, what's happening? Are you extending yourself to connect with the cloud or the space around the clouds? Are you being the water droplets, asking them to disappear? What's the internal process?
Honestly,
are you allowed to tell us?
Honestly, I am really doing nothing. I'm literally just like how I would, well, I can't say I'm doing nothing, but really, I mean, like, just like how you would make us, what you would, I guess, call in your guys' field in the qigong community a chi ball, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm just kind of like, perhaps the best way I can explain it is I'm just simply, like doing an energy exchange, if you will. And when you do that to the cloud, and I'm not an expert at this. I don't know why the dissolving process, the shrinking process of the cloud takes place. I really don't know what the true metaphysical science behind that is. I really don't know what is taking place. So I could be wrong, but my guess is that I'm possibly influencing the air around it, so it's sort of dispersing the clouds around it. That is that is my guess. I bet I honestly do not know why that takes place. I'm honestly not a true expert at this.
Okay.
I'm just a practitioner who
so do you
just sort of my teachers and stuff like that. Let me talk a little bit about my teachers, because really I have some very impressive teachers that I personally have that can really do some unbelievable stuff. So I have a YouTube channel called Energy Warrior Ken, youtube.com/c/Energy Warrior Ken is where you can check me out. But I have a few, really amazing teachers. One of them's name's Super Luminous 7 on YouTube, and he can do some really unbelievable stuff. My friend Ken Chorley, my friend Tanuj Sudan are just incredible airbenders. They are probably the best elemental benders that I know. Super Luminous 7 is probably the best telekinetic, like indoor stuff. As far as indoor stuff, he is probably the best at that, as far as I know. And there's another guy named Journal of a Jedi on YouTube as well, who is phenomenal. And my friend Alexander Krakoling, Alex, he goes by Alex Craig from Austria, is just another phenom as well. He actually could move people around, which is incredible skill. So yeah, and Julia knows him as well. Well, maybe not knows him, but she's friends with him on Facebook as well. So so these guys are all phenomenal guys, and I would definitely recommend you guys checking all these guys out. So
yeah, great, thanks for that. So you say that as an energy warrior you have to train every day. What kind of training do you typically do, sort of from at the start when you don't know what to do to now where you can actually be doing it? What kind of training do you have to do?
Biggest thing I would say start out with actually doing stuff like Qigong. In fact, I think Qigong is the best foundation for telekinesis. Now, when you actually want to move an object, the best thing to do is to actually create empathy with the object that you're trying to influence. So if you're trying to move the air, build empathy with the air. If you're trying to influence water, build empathy with water. If you're trying to influence fire, you get the point. So what you were trying, so it's just kind of build a connection, a relationship. That's what we call empathy. So build a solid connection so that's the $1 million question, right? Like, how do you build this relationship with these objects, with the elements or objects? Like, obviously you've seen me, influence a side wheel and stuff like that on my channel. How do you build this empathy? That is the $1 million question. And that's the question that I've struggled with as well when I was starting my telekinetic journey. It really just comes down to just sending your energy, right? Whether it's out of your hands, whether it's from your third eye, whether it's from the heart. A lot of people have different techniques, in my opinion, but it really just comes down to just being persistent and just seeing what happens. I mean, that's just based off my experience. It really just comes down to you building a relationship. Some people even say talk to the wind or talk to the object. Just there's different ways in people build a true solid relationship with what you're trying to influence. So it's when it comes to how you do telekinesis, there's really no right or wrong answer. So in my opinion. So
so that makes sense to me. I think in the sort of traditional esoteric knowledge, it's basically held that when humans send energy to another living being, that is actually like a blessing, and that other living being, which of course is also part of the one, will respond to us. And simply by being present and interacting, of course, the force field of the two will then start, and you get this in Qigong, is like when you start connecting with someone, it's like their energy comes out of the building to the front door and checks you out. And then after a while, so there's like this sort of jittery stuff happening at the start, and then it calms down, and then the two of us are in the flow, and then energy starts flowing between the two of us, and after a while it actually starts building. And then as the human, because you can hold the intent with your mind, then that is what the potential of now then becomes. Sorry, that's just me relating to what you're saying.
Right. I see what you're saying.
translating that to my speak.
Right. But I mean, like I said, I mean, like, there's really no, I mean, as crazy as this might sound, like, there's really no yes or no answer on how to go about doing telekinesis, because like I said, it's everybody kind of has their own technique. But the biggest thing I can say is it really just comes down to just building, using your own perhaps creativity to build that relationship with your own energy and perhaps the energy of the thing that you're trying to influence, whether it's the elements or a particular object. So if I have a psi wheel somewhere to show you guys. Hold on.
Yeah, so Ken's just going to go and get the psi wheel. Oh, we've got Jeff back.
I don't know yet. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, and your voice is movement, whereas your picture does not have movement.
I apologise for that.
But that's okay. And we're just all
first time ever.
mute this. So for those that are listening, and Ken's just getting the psi wheel, so they basically have this thing that they trained on. So Ken's back.
Yeah, so this is like a psi wheel, basically. This is just an eraser. I stuck a needle on it, and you put a piece of paper on top of it, and you try to spin it. So like that.
Yeah, I've seen them do that with chewing-gum foil.
Hold it up like that, obviously on the ground. So, but you can check that out on my channel, youtube.com/Energy Warrior Ken, which is link, you can probably see it right there. So for those of you on the radio, so
yeah. So on the wheel, what I've seen you is basically using the hands, and then it rotates. But I've also seen you in some of your videos, you're basically having the hands together, and you've got the straws underneath the plastic.
Yes. And I'm glad that you brought that up. And I don't know what is happening there, but one day I made this prayer pose, and this seemed to have been extremely effective. And again, I don't know why it is effective, but my theory is that perhaps I am probably tapping into, because in some Qigong schools, this particular pose is, I believe, one of the 5 elements, if I'm not mistaken. So I believe you're tapping into some sort of heart energy, or maybe some.
Yes, the heart fire field. Yeah, and it's a bigger.
Yeah. You could probably explain the power effect of this particular pose, perhaps. Obviously, in some religious traditions, I mean, this pose is probably used quite often, and I think there's a reason behind that, and I think there's a really truly sacred meaning behind this pose. So yeah.
So what kind of things are you working on? I mean, now that you can move objects, what's getting you out of bed in the morning?
What's getting me out of bed in the morning? Just to improve. I mean, like I said, to influence, like I was explaining earlier, to influence things that are actually outside is actually quite easy. I believe shamans, and I think you might be more familiar, when it comes to this than me, but shamans and whatnot have been doing this sort of stuff for probably hundreds, thousands of years. You know what I mean? To influence the weather and stuff like that, to summon rain and whatnot. So that stuff isn't that hard. What I'm particularly working on is being able to do stuff indoors, because indoors there's really no energy. Obviously, when you're indoors, the wind's not blowing and stuff like that. That's where the true mastery comes, and that's where you have to really truly use your own internal energy to influence things. So that's where it's really difficult, and that's what I'm primarily working on, because if you can get good at indoor stuff, obviously the outdoor stuff can be spectacular. So that's sort of what I'm working on. So, some people have different opinions on that. Some people say, like I was saying, it's all about the relationship and stuff like that. So if you want to get really good at, influencing the stuff outside, the elements, you have to strictly play with the elements. I hear different opinions. For me, it seems to me like playing, with indoor stuff is an effective way to actually get good at everything. So everybody's got a different opinion on that, but yeah. But that's, to answer your question, that's what I'm working on right now, is to be really good at so my current goal right now is to a much bigger paper than this. My goal right now is to basically stack up like 30 of these and to be able to under a sealed container. That is I'm hoping to accomplish that within 3 years. 30 of these paper. So that's pretty heavy. So that's like, yeah, that's heavy. The heaviest that I've been able to barely move is maybe like 10 or something like that at this point. But that day I was like really feeling good. My energy was on point and stuff, and I can't do that right now. So so yeah.
So what kind of things do you find and build your energy? And you say obviously one of the things is doing qigong, but what kind of things do you find build your energy versus draining them?
Draining them, that's a great question, because to be honest with you, Julia, and you are a foremost expert at qigong and obviously hypnosis as well, because for me it seems like, I don't know if it's because I go into like a slower brainwave. I mean, obviously in America right now it's 222 synchronistic. It's 222 right now. I'm really tired. My brain waves are slow. Actually, right now is like probably the best time to actually perform telekinetic abilities, by the way, because you want to do it when your brain waves are slow. Even though I'm extremely tired, the brain waves are slow. That's when telekinesis is perform greatly and stuff like that. Sorry, what was the question you're asking? Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
What do you use to what do you use to build your energy, and what do you
build my energy? Yes, that's right. I was getting into that. So I believe the best way to build your energy is obviously stuff like breathing exercises, guided meditations, reprogramming your mind and stuff like that, enhancing your third eye, brain power, whatever. All this stuff I believe is great to abilities, in my opinion, from my experience. Anything to be able to push that energy out, to be able to connect to that particular object or element that you're trying to influence is good. So so by building up your internal chakras or meridians, Dantian, whatever you want to call it, I believe the thing helps. I really truly believe that if you can, whether, like I said, doing breathing or meditation or sun gazing. I mean, everybody's got any spiritual person is embarked on their own path to develop their consciousness. I believe really anything helps to build up your own internal energy and stuff like that. Have a really solid foundation in your energy field. Yeah, you are going to be good at telekinesis. So yeah.
Cool. And
oh yeah, sorry, my bad. I'm tired. And as far as the draining goes, yes, sorry, my bad. As far as the draining your energy is concerned, so for me, when I do any type of energy work, even like guided meditations and stuff like that, obviously I get really tired, so that sort of drains me. But in the process where I'm drained, I feel like I am charged up as well. I guess it's kind of like, when you work out, you're tired, but you're actually building that muscle. You're building that stamina. I believe it's kind of like that, if that makes sense. You're kind of, so does that make sense, Julia, or am I making sense?
Oh, absolutely, because there's the motivating, the moving, doing energy, but there's also the yin energy. So once your muscles actually relax and you get tired, then the energy that's deep within your system, that's nurturing and that runs through your blood, is actually the one that's coming out.
Right.
And it just is a different quality. And I think they're even now finding out with a heart pump that we think it just pumps, but there's the vortex is actually what creates the flux. So and I just love the mind paradigm. So even when you're draining, you're turning it around. So you're not draining and losing energy, but you're draining and resting into potential that will take you through. Mm-hmm. So that's great. And you also mentioned that in as you've got a picture of Aang the Last Airbender there, which we watch show after show, and we've been watching Korra as well. But the mission is to, one is to show people that this is possible and it's actually quite natural, and two is to sort of help save the world. And you mentioned healing abilities. Have you yourself witnessed that or been involved in sort of, even for yourself?
Honestly, yes, but to telekinetically try and like heal somebody else, I believe, is very difficult. I think that's not to say that there aren't people out there that can actually do that. I believe that there are some really advanced people that can actually heal someone else, but I believe the best way to perform healing is to heal yourself. And I believe, and I want your opinion on this, Julia. I believe personally that rather than, like, let's just say you have an injury somewhere, instead of going like that, like, I'm sending energy and I'm going to try to, heal it with my telekinetic energy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that it's personally probably more effective to actually do qigong movements and stuff like that to open up your channels. I believe that is the proper way to try and heal yourself. What is your opinion on that? I believe qigong is actually a far more effective way when it comes to healing. What is your opinion on that?
It's about whether you put the donkey in front of the cart or the cart in front of the donkey. So both is correct. Not really, but the secret of qigong is to open yourself up, get out of the way, and let the universal healing energies, or the energies that support you and create you in every moment of time, to flow through you. So just like you say, you do telekinesis do really well at midnight when your brain's not so active. It's the mind, the monkey mind, that's trying to project things into realities out of the way, and energy can just flow. And energy within the human and within nature generally seeks to return to the greatest equilibrium and balance naturally. So it really is just a matter of getting out the way and putting yourself into a situation where you can tap into those energies and make space, which is why it is wonderful to hear you doing that with the trees. Trees are certainly one way. We do qigong with trees too, basically tap into the wisdom of the trees that have been there for hundreds of years and provide us with oxygen in exchange. But also, as part of qigong, you train to scan, and as soon as you're scanning, that part that you're scanning will then start to reorganize itself, and qi will go into that space. So your attention carries a certain amount of qi, as you all know, as a telekinesis expert. And I was actually going to ask you, we've got Susie and we've got Elizabeth and we've got some other listeners who love trees as much as you do. So when you're doing your telekinesis, when you're engaging with the trees and they're starting to wave and move around, and in qigong we also do this to kind of get into like a different realm, a different state of being. What does it feel like for you when you're really into, when you've got that engagement or that empathy going? What does it feel like?
I'm not, when I'm moving the trees, I'm not really moving the trees, I'm moving the air. So I'm actually building more of a connection with air. Tree happens to be moving because I'm moving the air.
Okay.
But I like what you said about trees. Trees are very, sacred. I mean, I don't think it's any coincidence that you're bringing up, trees and stuff like that, because, in the English word tree, chi, you see what I'm saying? Like, and it's in Japan, tree is called ki. Ki. Some people say chi ki, like some people say qigong, So so I don't think it's any coincidence. Like, trees are very powerful. They store a lot of chi. So or ki. So it's definitely no coincidence for sure. I think trees are very, very powerful energy. They store very powerful energy. So
So we'll move from talking about trees to talking to more about your community. I mean, like how many, you know, a lot of us are excited because we've long believed that that every generation brings new talents, new potential through, and we've certainly tried to, when we're educating our kids, to not limit them to sort of the standard model operating procedure or idea of what humans should be, and we've certainly tried to encourage them very much to, in their knowing and in their doing and being. But sort of, so how many people do you know or do you interact with regularly who are in that community, who are, you know, not just trying out to move water or air or objects or clouds, but are actually sort of, you know, succeeding and doing that? Sort of, what's the community like over on your side of the ocean?
So are you asking me how many practitioners actually exist in the world? Is that what you're asking?
Well, no, that you know of. I don't know whether it's...
I know. Well, I mean, as far as online, I am very within the English speaking community.
Okay, yeah.
I would say I know the vast majority of people. Within, at least within Facebook, I would say there is about legitimate practitioners. I would say there is about, let's see, let me do the math here. So, because, see, Anthony's group has like roughly 10 moderators and 3 practitioners. Okay. Probably, I don't know. Hard to say. I would say it's safe to say there's about 200 legitimate practitioners within the English speaking. Within the English speaking Facebook groups, probably about 200 practitioners, I'd say. Safe to say. As far as YouTube goes, probably the numbers are about the same. So, and obviously, you know, some of this, you know, people on Facebook are on YouTube as well. And obviously, I'm sure there's tons of underground people. But as far as like people really truly exposing themselves online, maybe 200 is too much. I don't know. I never actually counted how many practitioners there are, but I would say it's safe to say there are probably about 100 to 200 legitimate practitioners out there. So, yeah.
And so if anybody on the show is watching this now or later and wants to find out more about how to become part of that community, or how to, you know, hang out with people like you who are doing that and
yes.
learn, where would they go to?
Yeah, so let's see. There's several groups that are actually great. Let me think. Well, my friend Milana May and Kelvin Celestine just started a online community called gurumay.org. You can check that out.
Sorry, can you repeat the name again?
I'm sorry?
What's the name again? And I'll type it into the chat box.
It's called gurumay.org. That's one of the good ones. As far as Facebook groups are concerned, my friend Tanuj Sudan has a group called The Matrix Unveiled. That's a good one. That's where you can learn most elemental stuff. My friend Max Reeder has a group, which is a group that Julia is part of. He has a group called Energy Healing and Telekinesis. He mainly teaches self-healing, though. It's not really, yes, some people, you know, like myself, demonstrate telekinetic abilities within that group. There are a few practitioners that demonstrate, but that group is mainly about healing. The best place to probably learn telekinesis from a Facebook group is a place called I mentioned him earlier. He on YouTube, he goes by Journal of a Jedi. Journal of a Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah, he goes by Antonio Telekinesis on social media. He is probably the best teacher as far as Facebook groups are concerned, in my opinion. His Facebook group name is pretty long. It's called The Jedi Way, Learn Telekinesis Through Videos. I'll say that again. It's called The Jedi Way, Learn Telekinesis Through Videos. So he is one of the first guys that really helped me out, and that is an excellent place. But if you want to learn more, if you're more interested in actually influence the elemental stuff, there's a group called The Matrix Unveiled. So that is an excellent group to get started as well. So so these are the groups that I would recommend. But honestly, guys, if you just type in telekinesis or psychokinesis in the search bar, in Facebook, and go to groups and type it in, there are multiple groups out there, and they're all excellent. So
Okay, cool. Thanks for that, Ken. Sorry, I'm just going to come back to you. I'm just looking up those channels and also the meth questions that we got from listeners. So I'm just going to sort of swap through to that. I can see you, so just bear with me. Thank you, Susie. So Susie asked, what about children? Hold on. Just thoughts on children and awakening the energies. So I don't know, you do have nephews and nieces. Do you show them certain tricks that they can do? What do you do to encourage them? Ken?
What I do to encourage them? Well, I will say this. Children are very, 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 to my understanding, I believe they have, and maybe Julia knows about this subject better than me. Correct me if I'm wrong, Julia, but they have a slower brainwave than us. Like, I believe when you turn 13, the brainwave goes from their brainwave goes to a beta. Am I correct?
You are. I mean, they're like the monkey thinking mind doesn't start till they're about 7. They don't have an ego, really. I mean, sort of not a proper one. They do throw tantrums at 3, but yeah, they're far more in absorption method. They're like sponges, so they're just absorbing and being rather than trying to project their internal reality on the outside till about 7 and 9.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I mean, if you can get it, I mean, as far as how to motivate a kid to do these telekinetic abilities, I mean, every kid is different, perhaps. So that's a hard question to answer. But I would say, I mean, if you can get a kid to do telekinetic stuff, I mean, at an early age, that's great, because they're going to be really good as an adult. So and they're going to be able to do some really amazing stuff. And so so get them learning early, in my opinion. I believe there's a few mystery schools like in England and stuff like that where they teach, quote unquote psychic kids on how to read blindfold and stuff like that. I've seen that on YouTube. So kids are excellent at this. So definitely, I don't know what the best way it is to encourage them to unlock these abilities and stuff. But so definitely, if you can encourage them, that's a good
and you can just use simple tricks like showing them how the energy flows with the pendulum, getting them to move, say, do you think you could move a tissue or a pendulum, and just hold it over their hands, and they'll actually realize that they can move it in different directions, or a tea bag if you've got one. And I think they have a natural connection with the elements as well. So the clouds often will be lying back watching the clouds, and you might encourage them to sort of think about a situation that's concerning them, and then ask for the clouds to come in, and the clouds will take the shape of whatever it is that will help them through that situation. So there is that spirit aspect to the elements. The elements are proud of us and they support us, and this engaging with the elements is always going to provide them that feedback. It certainly makes me feel less alone, because I know that I can just, if I'm feeling lonely indoors, I'll just walk outdoors, and the sunshine will be there, and the moonbeams will be there, and the trees and the birds, and everything's always there just in different forms, not necessarily humans. It's that beautiful connection. So I was going to ask you, I have had some questions from Misha in Dubai, and I told Misha that you had been inspired by Naruto and Goku, Ken. So here are the questions for you. I probably will pronounce the names incorrectly, but bear with me. I think you'll probably understand that. All right, so what kind of kinesis do you think that Kamehameha is?
Kamehameha is probably, well, in Dragon Ball Z, they mostly fight outside, so I would say it is technically telekinesis, I guess. But it's, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like I was saying in the intro, you know, like when you watch Star Wars and stuff like that, they don't really show that. And I think there's a reason why they left this secret out. I believe probably one of the biggest, greatest secrets that humanity doesn't know, like I said, is the fact that they can influence the air so easily and stuff like that. When you watch all these, superhero movies, you often see that they're able to do telekinetic stuff, whether it's indoors or outdoors. The biggest secret, again, is the fact that outside the air is very easy to influence. So, and not even very high level spiritual practitioners are unaware of this. So that is the really big secret. So as far as what is Kamehameha, like I said, it's probably telekinesis, technically, but a lot of these, whether it's Star Wars or X-Men or Goku, Naruto, a lot of these shows are kind of, it's good in the fact that they're showing the world, inspiring the world that abilities actually exist, at least in fiction, but they're kind of portraying the truth behind it, so to speak. Like I said, like the air outside is very easy to influence. So yeah.
Yeah, it has a very high amount of air prana. You see those little white bouncing bits of light, and this is what always amazes me, is that light from the Big Bang, neutrinos, a lot of that didn't actually get manifested. It's not in matter yet, so all that light from the Big Bang in the form of neutrinos is still bouncing around through us as we speak, like at a rate of 200 bits per cubic centimeter. And it's just all available and looking around to be manifested. So that's what you get, the prana in the air. All right, Ken, here's another question for you from Misha from Dubai. What does the different Cyan transformations mean in his world?
I'm sorry, what is the question?
What does the different Cyan, S-A-I-A-N, transformation means in his words?
I'm still not following the question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Different what now?
Does he do some transformations? S-A-I-A-N, transformations in his world?
Do I do transformations?
No, this is the Kamehameha guy, I think, or the Naruto or Goku. I'm not sure. The Goku.
I'm still not following the question. Sorry, I don't understand the question.
Okay, don't worry. If Misha's online, welcome. Thanks for joining us, and I'll invite him to put a comment on. The last question was what in Naruto? What the tailed beasts could be in real life?
What the tailed beasts could be in real life? I do not know. I do not know. I don't, because maybe you're more familiar with this, Julia. I mean, like when it comes to spirit animals and such, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. So my answer is I don't know. But I think some people say they have a spirit animal, for themselves and stuff like that. So maybe that's what it is. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because obviously some of the abilities portrayed in Naruto or Goku, or sorry, sorry, not Goku. I'm tired. Sorry, it's 2:45 a.m. in America. Um, in Dragon Ball Z is real, but obviously it is fiction. So not everything necessarily translates to reality. So yeah.
So in these times of, you know, being locked up by society because of this big virus and, you know, this separation and uncertainty, what is it that sort of keeps you and your tribe going?
I can't speak for my tribe because everybody's got a different opinion when it comes to this whole coronavirus crisis that we're in. For me, I am still pursuing my dream regardless, and regardless of what happens to the world, because I am at the end of the day not in control what's going to happen. I obviously try to put out positive energy as much as I can throughout the day. I strive to be a better person every single day. I strive to spread consciousness, positivity the best I can every single day. So that's the best you can do, and that's what everybody should be doing. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we're not in control. I guess perhaps we can wake people up, quote unquote, but definitely, I think the worst thing you can do right now, I believe, is to be in that state of fear, so to speak. That's just my opinion. So stay positive, and yeah, just stay positive. And I believe, I mean, since we're on the subject of telekinesis, I mean, telekinetic abilities and stuff like that can definitely influence your manifestation skills as well. So yeah, I mean, yeah, manifest a better world. Just stay positive and create that reality of peace and a new generation of hope, a new generation of a conscious, spiritual, enlightened world. That's what we should strive for. So yeah. So
Well said. That's what I like about you. You certainly stick to the nitty gritty of what's important. We did have a meditation yesterday, and it was interesting. In the meditation, a bird with a broken wing came to us. And so we took care of it just like children would. And then the other birds, the whole flock came, and one of them had actually seen something that they wanted to show us. So it took us to a better world, a new dimension that is currently being dreamed and becoming a part of our reality. But we have to kind of focus on it to draw it into reality. So Ken, what I'd like to do is I've actually pulled up the beauty of airbending on the YouTube, and I'm going to try and share the screen to play it with the audience.
Okay.
If you, I can't remember, there's music on it, but if you want to talk over it for the radio listeners, where you feel appropriate, describe, go for it, or but I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, it's probably best to just play the thing. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just play it. Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So share screen. Okay, I'm just going to try that. It's giving me all these. Okay, Chrome tab. Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. So it does zzz. Yeah, it does activate the pineal gland, doesn't it?
Yeah, that really, I forgot to mention that. When you activate the pineal gland, the wind starts kicking up. So that's something that the listeners can probably try. So on a windy day, just try going zzz or om like that. Like, trust me, the wind will start really reacting. And at that point, if you can start moving your hands around, like, trust me, like, the wind will start moving according to your hand movements. So so just go zzz like that, and I mean, really, it's that simple, guys. I mean, like, anybody can do airbending. None of these people. I mean, some of these guys, are really, really, really high level practitioners that can do some really amazing stuff, like Ken Charlie at Tanuj Sudan and Alexander Craik. I mean, these guys are true masters at this stuff. They can activate the wind out of when there's no wind and stuff like that. They can, like, calm the wind down when the wind is, like, really heavy. So those guys can do some really amazing stuff. So, but like I said, just try it out. Try out moving your hands around and stuff like that, and you'll definitely be able to see how the wind will react to you. So yeah.
So we've got a question from Katie Fan, and she's asking, is airbending something everyone can learn and unlock?
Yes, 1,000,000,000%. I will tell you this. Like I said, I will reiterate this. Airbending is not difficult to do. Airbending is so easy to do. You don't have to be a Qigong expert. You don't have to do, unlike telekinesis, you don't have to practice this for decades and stuff like that to unlock. Anybody can influence the wind because the wind is very light. It basically has no weight, so it's very easy to influence as long as you project your chi, your soul, whatever you want to call it. Yes. So was it Katie? Yes. So just on next time when you're outside on a windy day, just try going zzz, and try don't even worry about sending your energy or anything like that. Just try going zzz, and just try moving your hands around, and yes, you will be able to see if you play around with it, you'll be able to see that the wind will be reacting to your hand movements. So yeah.
Great. And Anna Liu is asking, well, how long does it take to master and train? Well, how long did it take you to master airbending, I guess, is the question.
I would say I am far from being a master. That will be my answer. I mean, I am far from being a master. As far as like once again, I'll say this: airbending is a very basic. I mean, like I said, it seems so unreal because when you look at me, when you watch me do it, it seems like I'm doing such an impressive thing. Like I'm doing something that's basically from like a cartoon or anime or something. It seems extremely impressive, but I mean it's really not. There's I mean the real hard stuff, like I said, is if I for me to do stuff indoors, that's where it's really for people that understand how all this telekinetic stuff works, like your mastery is sort of measured with what you can do kind of inside. So yeah.
Right, because outside you're kind of more uplifted and it's just easier, whereas indoors it's a controlled environment. It's a black box.
I encourage every listeners to go out and try it out because trust me, it is it's very easy to influence, and really, I mean, you don't have to be a telekinetic master, quote unquote, to be able to do it. So.
And that's something that you put into one of your, the beauty of airbending or something. It's like that, everyone in the world should learn PK. By the way, what is PK? Psychokinesis versus telekinesis. What is PK?
I don't honestly know the politically correct definition of the two. I mean, I consider I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I think maybe one is using your hands and one is not. So I guess I don't know. Like I guess one is perhaps just sending chi, and one is just like no hand motion, just doing it strictly with your mind. So, but I don't. I mean, to me, they're the same thing, really. So, I mean, whether you're using your hands or no hands, it's the same thing. So, yeah. So,
all right. So Katie's asking.
Politically correct on those terms. So,
I understand what PK is now. Yeah, thanks for explaining that. So Katie Fan's asking, other than air bending, is it possible to bend other elements as well as fire, earth?
Yes,
water,
absolutely,
fire and earth?
100%. Yeah, there's some incredible demos that you can find online, such as Atmokinesis. I touched upon that, which is dissolving clouds, thunder bending. Thunder bending, I mean, there's not a real term for it. If you can type in summoning thunder and stuff like that, there's actually a great guy named Sinister Star who can, my friend Alex Craig actually has a thunder summoning demonstration, a great one as well. So that, we mentioned him earlier, so you can check him out. Pyrokinesis, which is fire, hydrokinesis, which is water bending. What else am I missing?
So Ken, in the pyrokinesis, what are they doing? Are they creating fire, or are they just changing the shape of the fire?
They are dissolving. Like, obviously you've heard of, I mean, Julia, you're familiar with the legend of John Chang, right? The guy that can, on YouTube, that can actually, put yeah. So John Chang is, obviously doing extremely high level stuff, obviously. When it comes to the pyrokinesis that I see, most practitioners demonstrate they're putting they're with their mind, they're turning fire completely out. So putting fire completely out. So I like
they're extinguishing fire, right? Okay.
Yeah. So that's
that would help when you're dealing with Zuko and his forces, the Fire Nation.
Right. I'm trying to think of other kinetics that I'm missing. Summoning rain. I mean, some people call it precipitation. There's a few demonstrations. My one of the guys I know named Connor Pascal actually has a great demonstration of that, where he summons rain in Africa where it never rains and stuff. So he's got a fantastic demo.
Well, you're actually speaking to someone who's participated in the world's greatest rain dance. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, when we had the drought out here, it was really bad. I mean, not this before the bushfires, but this is like way back in 2011. And we teamed up with the local Aboriginal group that did their traditional rain dances, and they tried to do a Guinness Book record thing of the world's largest rain dance, and I think our names are in there along with those of my girls. And we did a practice run, and it rained so much that when we were actually supposed to do the real one, it was already raining. And then it continued raining all the way through till January, and we had the big flood. So,
oh my goodness!
Be careful what you ask for. Too much rain isn't good.
Now, these same people, did you guys also rain dance? Obviously, during the bushfires of Australia, what did you guys? I'm assuming you guys
they did, and we had a lot of people praying, and actually a lot of people in Australia were delighted. This goes back to the power of the group and manifestation, because worldwide, a lot of people in the spiritual world were joining hands in prayer for rain for us, and it worked. It worked. If it had continued, it would have been pretty bad, because it's such a dry continent and we hadn't had. But yes, many people joined to basically dream rain and see it raining over Australia for the bushfires, and that was just a wonderful thing for the collective to do and experience, I think.
Right, awesome, and it went really well. Huh? That's good. That's
yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Ken, we've we've come to the end of our show. Thank you so much for staying up and talking to us. And those of you that are watching, feel free. I mean, Ken's on Facebook. Under what's your name under Facebook if they want to look for you?
Facebook.com/Energy Warrior Ken. So you can definitely friend me on Facebook if you're interested. And definitely check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com//Energy Warrior Ken. Definitely subscribe to my channel if you're interested in my content. And yeah, I mean, just if you hit me up, I can definitely direct you to some of my friends, practitioners that are that can definitely teach this stuff better than I can. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you again, Ken, for being on this show, and thank you to all of you that are watching this now. And may the force stay with you. Thanks a lot. And thank you to Jeff, who's behind the scenes making this all happy.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Yep.
All right. All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a good sleep. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
bye.